Hi everyone. So today I'm going to be talking about biological age versus chronological age, and I was inspired to do this topic because a couple of weeks ago I turned 39 and I do get a lot of comments that I don't look 39 years of age. I've had comments pretty much right throughout my adult life that I don't look the age that I actually am chronologically. There is a whole range of reasons for that, as there is with everybody who either looks older than they should look or who looks younger than they should look. And there's some of the things I want to talk about today. First thing that I want to say, my first disclaimer, is I do come from a genetically blessed pool of women. In my family, we've got a long lineage of women that tend to be very robust and healthy. So I'm very grateful that I've inherited a lot of that genetic material through the maternal line, through my mitochondrial DNA specifically. So my grandmother actually lived past 100 years old. Her sister lived to 106. They were both in their own homes, right up until towards the very end of their lives. Very sharp intellectually, very active physically in their gardens. And my mother, she is now 70. She's on no medications. She's fit, healthy, gardening every day, living independently. So I've got a pretty good track record to follow. So I do have a great starting point. But there is a lot of things that we can actually be doing in our day-to-day life that will actually enhance our health and well-being and drop down this thing that we call biological age. So in essence, the number really doesn't matter so much, and we all get quite obsessed with the number. But I want you to start reframing that and think more about what your biological age is. So what the actual cellular age is of your body versus the number that you're attributed to based on your birth certificate in the outside world. There are a lot of little calculators online, as with anything online. Some of them are amazing quality, some of them are really poor quality, but they might give you a bit of an idea about what your biological age could be, and you might be pleasantly surprised. So it's definitely worth checking out where you are at. For the rest of this video, I want to focus primarily on some things that you can actually look at and maybe also demystify some myths about what causes aging and why we age and impacts on making you necessarily look older than you are or be biologically older than you are. First thing really is we are very focused on the external appearance for sure. So I'm not going to neglect that, but it's really about the internal health of your body. But what actually happens is you will reflect your internal health externally. So we've all seen those people that have had a hard life, that have been very, very challenged, maybe had to work very hard, work long hours, maybe be out in the sun, exposed, physical labor. They're going to look a lot older than they may otherwise be. And that includes the population of people that smoke. Smoking is certainly going to age people. There is definitely some people out there though that seem to be immune to this aging effect of smoking, but they are very much in the minority. So with respect to sun, there was a really, really big push really behind the skin cancer message as well, that sun was bad for us. And this really started to get going probably about 10 years ago and has really, really got a strong hold on the consciousness of people. We've almost become too wary about being out in the sun. There is no doubt that UV radiation does age the skin, but like everything in nature, it is not fully good or fully bad. There is a middle path here. And that's the bit that we're starting to come to terms with, in the sense of how much vitamin D deficiency we're actually seeing in the broader community. So your general practitioner or your regular doctor that you see, they can definitely do a vitamin D test. Naturopaths and other functional medicine doctors can also do these tests for you to actually see what your vitamin D levels are like. We are finding really alarming rates of vitamin D deficiency. And vitamin D is actually involved in hundreds of different processes in our body. So some of the ones that you might be more familiar with is your bone health and your bone strength. So vitamin D, along with calcium, is very important to give you strong, healthy bones. So you can have all the calcium in your diet that you want. If you're not getting vitamin D, and our primary source is from the sun, then you are going to still be susceptible at risk of contracting osteoporosis. So vitamin D from the sun is important in that regard. It's also important in regulating our hormonal health. It's involved in lots of processes in our gut, including producing serotonin, which is really one of our mood stabilizing hormones, and it is really key in our health and well-being. So vitamin D, if you are deficient, you can supplement. A really nice, simple, basic rule that you might want to go by is that you don't want to be out in the sun in the really extreme parts of the day, so in the middle of the day, but you can certainly get some sun early morning and late in the evening, even around 15 minutes, making sure that you do have some skin exposed. If you're worried about aging, have some sunscreen of some sort on your face, but definitely get your forearms, your shoulders, maybe your legs out in a little bit of light early morning or later in the evening. That's a really, really safe time. And the other little rule of thumb that I heard recently, which I thought was nice and simple, is particularly in the summer months, if you are not lightly tanning, and I stress lightly tanning, from the sun exposure that you're getting, then you can sort of assume that you're not actually getting enough sun exposure to guarantee your vitamin D requirement. So the vitamin D requirement is around 4,000 to 5,000 international units per day. You can achieve this with supplement form. And for those of you that don't want to be out in the sun or don't get enough sun, I certainly know with my day-to-day career, being stuck in an operating theatre, sometimes from dusk till dawn, that I'm not getting enough sunshine to ensure my vitamin D. So supplementation is very, very useful here. There's lots of products on the market. Just make sure that you're getting the D3 form of the vitamin. That's going to be the most bioavailable and most effective for your body. So that's vitamin D. Sunscreen is certainly not the devil. We do need to use sunscreen at certain times, but I'm no longer a proponent of wearing sunscreen 24/7. You won't wear it at night anyway, but I certainly try to have some time, particularly in those safer windows of UV radiation, to get some exposure and get that good old natural sunshine in. It's a fantastic mood booster as well. The second factor that I want to talk about with anti-aging or keeping your biological age nice and low is movement. We've got to move, and it's a huge challenge these days with our lifestyle. Now, the movement I'm talking about is not going and trashing yourself at the gym. If that is what you do, that's fine, but that's not what we need to do in order to stay young and healthy on the inside and the outside. So really simple movement, walking. Honestly, walking is so simple. Just choose to take your car around a little bit less. Get out and walk. 2 walks a day, 20 minutes, fantastic. Dogs are great for this because they're a huge motivator to get you out walking. They say that around 10,000 steps a day is about right. So a good way to work this out is walk at your comfortable pace for 10 minutes. Count how many steps you've done in that 10 minutes. You'll be able to work out how many minutes or blocks of 10 minutes you'll need to walk for each day to get your 10,000 steps in. Super easy. You don't have to worry about wearing or carrying a pedometer or a device to count your steps all day. If you like doing that and measuring things, that's great, but sometimes that's not super convenient. Also, we're really into fascia these days. If you don't know what I'm talking about, I will definitely be talking about fascia in the future because I'm a yin yoga teacher and it's one of our favorite topics. But fascia is essentially the connective tissue that connects the entire body together. And it's really only been in the last 5 to 10 years that we're starting to understand the importance of fascia, its role in healthy mobility and flexibility as we age, and the various exercises that actually support fascia and help that fascia stay youthful to enable your movement to also stay youthful. Really important. Weight-bearing exercise as well is really important as we're getting older because that weight-bearing exercise, and it can be your own weight. You don't have to go to the gym and lift weights per se. You can use your own body weight, doing simple lunges, push-ups, those sorts of exercises to have weight-bearing exercise to keep your bones healthy and strong. It's way more important doing this than having that glass of milk, which is a total furphy. All right, nutrition, super important, one of my favorite topics. I want to briefly talk today about this amazing book called The Blue Zone Solution. This book is by Dan Buettner, and this is actually a newer version of this book that's come out. This book basically talks about the blue zones, which are some areas on our planet that have been scientifically proven to have longevity or longer living populations of people. So these areas talked about in the book include Icaria in Greece, Sardinia in Italy, Okinawa in Japan, Loma Linda in California, and Nicoya, I'm not sure if I'm saying that right, in Costa Rica. The book is a fascinating read, and it looks at what some of these regions have particularly in common. Nutrition is certainly one of them. And across the board, a predominantly plant-based diet, Mediterranean diet, with some fish is the healthiest option for you for longevity. It is undeniable, and it's worked really well in these populations. Get the book. It's got some fantastic recipes in the back from all of these regions, so you can really start to explore some interesting new recipes for yourself and include some more plants in your diet as well. Last point, or second to last point, is sleep. We are in a sleep crisis in the modern world. We are not getting enough, and the sleep we are getting isn't good enough quality, and it will age you. So you need to prioritize sleep. You need to get into a really good sleep routine and make sure that you're getting enough sleep for you, because it is individual, and you might need to experiment with this to think, gee, can I really function on 7 hours a night, or am I the type of person that needs 9 hours a night? The Ayurvedic doshas, the body types, also come into play here. Another great topic for me to talk about in the future. But prioritize your sleep, really important. And the final thing that I want to talk about is purpose. So we need purpose. As human beings, we need to have some reason to get up in the morning. So they've done scientific studies and found that people that retire and literally pretty much stop doing anything, some of them actually age dramatically in that short-term period after their retirement, because they've kind of lost their purpose. So even if you are retired, find a purpose, make sure you have a purpose. If you are in a job that you actually don't find very fulfilling, you can have a purpose outside of your career. That is fine. Your purpose may be your family, your hobby, your other interests, travel. Just have a purpose, and it will actually make sure that you don't age too rapidly. Keep that biological age nice and low. So I hope you found some really good tips amongst the topics that I've covered today on how to focus more on your biological age and keeping that nice and young, and not worrying so much about the number. Okay, the number, you're only as old as you feel, and I think that's really, really true. So if you want to hear about any other topics that you would like me to cover, please comment, and make sure that you do subscribe to the channel, The Whole Doctor, to make sure that you get alerts when there's new video content loaded. Have an amazing day, and see you soon.